I'm working on a Fujitsu outdoor unit AOU 18CL, indoor unit ASU 18CL, but I'm sure it'll work with all those. As long as the letters are the same, I'm sure it'll work with all the different tonnages. What I have is a problem with the thermal sensor, current sensor, thermal current sensor, something like that, tripping. And I believe what that has to do with the circuit board getting too hot. There's 2 heat sinks underneath here that need to be cooled by this device right here that air moves across whenever the outdoor fan's coming on. So I'm thinking if this gets really dirty, that gets really hot, then it doesn't really cool this board efficiently. So what you got to do is shut the unit off, and this is how I serviced it. And you got to leave the unit off for at least 30 minutes, I believe, for it to actually reset. So how to do it is, so when you get everything open, you just clean everything really good, blow it inside and out. I use nitrogen. You can use coil cleaner, but you really got to make sure you get it really good and not get this wet, of course. And then there's 4 screws right here that hold this plastic casing, circuit board casing, to the metal casing here. But you can't really take this out until you do a few other things. So even though you get these screws out, the board will only want to come up about this high because there's more power wires that are running through the bottom of this. So then you have to lift this up to disconnect those, and there's a little flap you bend out to unplug them and then feed them through, just so you can lift the plastic circuit board up a 90 to re-grease the heat sinks. You'll see them in there. It'll be like a gray paste that's all dried up, and I use a razor. I clean that up, and then I just repaste it with this thermal grease right there. This is the one I used. I guess any thermal grease will work. I wanted to get something that can be in a really hot environment and maybe help more. But also, even to get this out, you gotta take all these wires that are in this little trough, and they made them long enough to where you can pop them out and move them out of the way, just so you can flip it up at night at a 90. Now, even just to lift this up, to unplug those 2 wires underneath there, you got a screw right here that you got to take out, and then there's 2 screws on each side over here you got to take out. Then you can get this metal thing to come up high enough so you can reach underneath here and unplug this thing. I mean, they made this thing way too compact. I mean, it's great, it's nice, but it isn't really that service friendly. If they could have just raised this up another inch or made this come out a little further or something, just to easy. But it works, you know. That's just me nitpicking, but I'm able to service it. So then, then you got to just make sure you line up everything on how to snap this back in there, because if it doesn't go in there real smooth, then you probably got one little clip or snap not lined up. I find the toughest one, the one I forget to check, which is the one you really have to check first, is making sure that this fits above these little tabs right here, that this gets in first, or gets on it first, and then you can start snapping it around and then put it in there. Then don't forget to put those 2 screws back. No, that was the other issue I had, was when I got all that done, I realized I had the metal casing over that to get the screws in. So then I had to unscrew this, lift it, realign it. You know, it'll take a little finagling to get it figured out. But so anyway, that's how I solved that code issue. If you ever have it, where you have at the indoor unit where you have 5 red flashes and 2 green flashes for this particular make and model number. I hope this helps.